All right, guys. So I want to tell you a story about a guy that I grew up with. Really smart guy, super good at math. He worked in like some server company and he wanted to get into investing. And he started his own, it was basically a hedge fund, like a person of one hedge fund. And he invested in companies that made products that were kind of similar to the products that he worked on in his day job. And his hedge fund was very, very successful. Like, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but he like 20x'd his money. I mean, he made ridiculous amounts of money. However, he decided to trade on margin. He decided to trade with leverage, which means, fancy way to say, he decided to trade stocks using other people's money. Very dangerous. And to make matters worse, he was not very diversified. He only owned a few companies. And so a few days ago, when those few companies lost a lot of money really, really quickly, the people who had loaned him money to buy stocks called him and said, "We want our money back right now." And they forced him to sell all of his stocks, and he lost a lot of money. What do you think of my friend? Do you think he's a good investor? Do you think he's a smart investor? Would you trust him with your money? What if I told you he's not my friend? He was a researcher at OpenAI who started a hedge fund and scaled it to tens of billions of dollars using leverage. As soon as you find out he worked at OpenAI, you think, wow, this guy's really smart. This guy probably knows what he's talking about. But domain expertise does not always translate to investment expertise. He may know how the AI works, how it functions, but he didn't have a diversified portfolio, and he traded on margin. The people that we're seeing in the news that are making very, very risky bets, we think they're geniuses because of where they went to school, because of where they worked, because everybody knows their name. But if your friend, not famous, not rich, if your everyday friend had the same portfolio as these people, would you think your friend is a genius? Or would you advise them to talk to a financial advisor? Would you advise them to get help? The issue with the Citadel drama is that it represents a larger problem in America, where young people don't see a clear path to a good life. Young people don't see a clear path to a good job. Young people don't see a clear path to buying a house, affording their wedding, their honeymoon. Young people don't see a path to purchase a home, have a kid, build a career. They don't see opportunities for that. And so what do people do when they don't see any opportunities for them? They get desperate and they gamble and they trade on margin, which means they buy stocks using other people's money. If you trade on margin, if you've lost money trading on margin, it's not your fault. You are a victim of the system we are in, where everybody has a casino in their pocket, and a lot of people view that as the only way to get ahead. They view it as the only way to build a good life in America now, is gambling and taking extreme risks. The rate of gambling in America is a proxy for the number of perceived opportunities that those people have. I don't believe that the average person that gambles wants to gamble. I also don't believe that people gamble because they think this is the easiest way for me to make money. I think that people gamble because they think this is the only way for me to make money. And if I don't make money doing this, What skills, what experience, what could I possibly have that would be valuable enough to make me this kind of money? This is the only option I have. I think that's why they do it. And this situation with Leo, with Citadel, just goes to show you can be really smart. You can have a really good job. But if you're buying stocks with other people's money, you're taking on a lot more risk than you realize. And it's easy to just pay attention to the gains and not the losses. But some days I go on Reddit and I filter by losses. And I only look at the Reddit posts of people who have lost money in the stock market. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. It can be very sobering looking at all the people losing money and not just looking at all the people making money. It can also be very grounding looking at the performance of various assets during past market corrections. QQQ lost 86% of its value in the dot-com crisis. And if you bought at the peak, it took 16 years to recover that money. And if you're young, I'm pretty young, like me, like you probably haven't seen that happen yet. If you're not old enough to have lived through multiple market corrections, you still have history. I love to ask Gemini, how quickly did each of the crashes happen? How much was lost in the first day, the first week, the first month? When did it recover? How long did it take for the crash to reach the bottom? I'll ask Gemini, how long did it take for the dot-com bubble to reach the very, very bottom? Look that up. It's longer than you would think. And so my message is, if you lose money investing, it's not your fault because you're living at the intersection of three major events. 1, Americans are not taught adequate financial literacy in school. 2, gambling apps are so big and everybody has a casino in their pocket. And 3, AI poses a threat to so many jobs, to so many careers, that it's no wonder a young person looks at their phone, they look at their portfolio or their app, and they say to themselves, this is the only way I'm going to get ahead in America. Young people have an opportunity to seek help. If you're buying stocks on margin with debt, with other people's money, I would talk to someone. The experienced generation also has a part to play in this because we can't expect young people to discontinue this path without giving them an alternative path to success and wealth building in America. And I know, when you were young, you did it all by yourself. You worked 3 jobs, you worked really hard, you put yourself through college, you found jobs, you applied like crazy. I know. But young people today are in a different situation because they have casinos in their pockets, employers that are replacing jobs with AI, and degrees that they spent a lot of time and money on that they're being told won't matter anymore. And in some cases, in a lot of cases, it was a really challenging degree. And so to the experienced generation, my question is, you can save money automating everything with AI, and that can be your legacy. Or you could give a young person an opportunity that will change their life. And when they get older, they can give a young person an opportunity that will change their life. And that can be your legacy. That can be your legacy. AI is here to stay. Make no mistake about it. AI is here to stay. And I know that people keep saying jobs won't matter, money won't matter, and they might be right. They very well could be right about that. But right now, money does still matter. Right now, we do still need to pay rent. We do still need to pay health insurance. living in the future is a beautiful thing, and I'm glad we have people like Jensen living in the future. That's good. That's a net positive for society. But we also need people who live with one foot in the present, that understand, okay, money might not be a thing in 5 years, but my kid needs health insurance today. My kid needs groceries today. The country is not headed in a good direction.